Hello my dear anime friends. In this video I will be giving you a recap of the movie called Bungo Stray Dogs Dead Apple. I know that is a bit of a mouthful, but sit back, enjoy and relax. The most violent conflict in Yokohama 6 years ago was the Dragon Head conflict, which involved multiple gangs and resulted in 88 deaths. Desai meets a guy named Shibusawa when he is a member of the Port Mafia, who had a significant part in bringing the dispute to a close. Atsushi interrupts Desai's visit to Oda's grave in the present. He grins as he recalls Oda's final wishes for him to become a decent man, startled to find him at such a setting. He also belonged to the Port Mafia. Before dying, he tells Atsushi that he was the reason he left the Mafia to join the armed detective agency. Atsushi informs him that Kunikida has instructed him to summon him to an important meeting at the agency. Desai walks out of the graveyard, dismissing the meeting. Back at the headquarters, Kunikida informs the attendees about incidents of ability users being slain by their own abilities all around the world. This happens just when a weird fog appears. With the death toll approaching 500, the Special Operations Section suspected they perished at their own hands. When Kunikida sees Desai's disappearance, he becomes irritated. He continues with the briefing, noting that they have been tasked with investigating these unusual fatalities. They have obtained more information suggesting Shibusawa, the mystery man from 6 years ago, is involved. Currently, he is in Yokohama. Their secondary goal is to find and apprehend him alive for questioning. His image is shown on the screen for everyone to see. When he sees the image, he recalls a repressed memory of himself standing in front of a door with a painting on it. Kyoyuka sees his preoccupation on the photo and inquires as to his well-being. Fukuzawa, the agency's president, concludes the meeting by giving the squad a motivational talk before calling the mission effective. Later that night, Kunikida and Tanizaki go for a meeting with a special division informant. Tanizaki shares his concern about someone having the capacity to force others to injure themselves while they travel. His boss tells him that the International Investigating Agency would have information on someone as powerful as him. When they arrived at the agreed-upon meeting location, they discovered that the informant was dead. Further investigation at the scene revealed that the killer had left an apple pierced with a knife. Both agents are perplexed. Meanwhile, Desai is having a drink poured for his departed buddy Oda in a bar. He then has another flashback. They talked about his interaction with someone who kills people with their own hands. It had not yet become public at the time. Oda rejected the matter as one of Desai's rants at the time. Back in the present, he takes a tablet and places the pierced apple on the counter. Ango intercepts Desai as he left the bar, accusing him of bringing Shibusawa to Yokohama. Behind Ango, a shadow of what looks to be Shibusawa emerges. The fog begins to form. At the same time, Atsushi dreams about the orphanage workers berating him before they leave, leaving the strange door behind. Fog swirls around the door and forcefully blows, forcing him to awaken in a panic. Kyoyuka, his roommate, checks to see whether he is all right. She inquires as to whether there was fog in his dream. This drives him to look outside, only to discover that their region is shrouded in fog. They try to reach the rest of the crew, but there is no signal. Kyoyuka advises they go to the agency, although he is hesitant to do so. The fog has crept over the city as they make their way to the headquarters. They hear a car collision and run to help, but no one is in the car. They continue their journey up the street when they come across a massive car wreckage with no indication of the drivers or passengers. The entire city is deafeningly silent, with no sign of life. Almost everyone has disappeared. Kyoko detects a bloodlust in the air and rushes to the spot. A spirit beast assaults them. The two agents attempt to activate their powers, but it fails. They flee the beast, powerless, but are followed. As they flee, they come upon a wounded Kunikida who tries to blow up a car, stopping the beast. They locate a safe spot to hide, and he tells them that he was assaulted by his own abilities. Before he can completely explain Kyoko's abilities, a monster appears and destroys their hiding location. Kyoko hot-wires the car that they used to flee. Kunikida continues his explanation, claiming that there were no self-killings and that all victims were slain by their own abilities. The group makes its way to the president's office at the headquarters. Their superior gains access to a classified communication gadget. The call is received by Ango, who is a member of the talented Special Operations Section. He then informs them that the fog has indeed engulfed the whole city. They are cut off from the outside world. Kunikida also provides his assessment of the scenario. The agency's members are all being assaulted by their own powers. Ango informs them of where they might find Shibusawa, the likely cause of the fog. He is in the heart of the city, in an abandoned building. Ango instructs them to kill him. He also informs them that Desai was last seen with Shibusawa, but the communication is cut off as Kunkida's ability begins attacking the building. He sends Kyoyuka and Atsushi ahead, aiming to overcome his own talent. Back at the Gifted Special HQ, Ango instructs an agent to call a certain ability user. Regards to Shibusawa, Atsushi advises that instead of murdering him, they capture him alive. In the meanwhile, Desai, Shibusawa, and Fyodor have been confirmed as accomplices. The primary suspect complains about being uninspired since no one ever exceeds his expectations. The three admit to having mutual distrust for one another. The two now proceed to the abandoned building. They are ambushed by Demon Snow, forcing them to exit the truck. Kyoyuka uses her talent. The deadlock is broken as Akutagawa uses his abilities to crash into Demon Snow. The three are cornered by their various abilities after a brief reintroduction. As Atsushi and Akutagawa's powers clash, Kyoyuka advises the two to flee down an emergency corridor utilized by the Mafia Lords. She manages to get past her abilities and join them in the passageway. The fog is dangerous because of the dragon's breath, according to Akutagawa. He goes on to say that the only way to reclaim one's talent is to fight it. Desai has joined the enemy, according to the Mafia member. However, Atsushi disputes these claims. Their thoughts first contradict each other, yet they remain together. Shibusawa returns to the abandoned building and exhibits to Desai and Fyodor his collection of crystallized skills. This gathering is only feasible thanks to information he acquired from Fyodor. He regrets the fact that he lacks the ultimate ability in his collection. Meanwhile, the new trio returns to street level after passing through the passageways. Their abilities are already waiting for them. When forced to fight them again, Atsushi discovers that shattering the diamonds implanted in their separate talents may be enough to vanquish them. They all succeed in destroying them. Kyoyuka and Akutagawa regain their abilities, while Atsushi's does not. They imply that this is because he does not have a positive relationship with his skills. Back at the Special Operations headquarters, the user requested turns out to be Chuya, and he is not pleased with Ango. It is revealed that the division attempted to terminate the dragon's head fight using Shibusawa's talents, but it backfired, so they attempted to cover it up. Chuya agrees to take the task if he gets to kill Ango afterwards. Shibusawa leaves the crystal chamber, leaving just Desai and Fyodor to reveal their secret collaboration. They want to destroy the crystals, depriving the fog of an energy source. Desai used his nullification power to restore all crystals to their original states. Their strategy will be completed with one more touch. Shibusawa, anticipating this, stabs him with a poison dagger, removing his ability. Despite his disappointment at seeing Desai's talent cause a singularity with the unification ability, this appears to be in accordance with Fyodor's plan. At the same moment, Atsushi is confronted with the door once more. He is getting ready to open it. We return to the abandoned building, where Fyodor informs Shibusawa that he is aware of his recollection. He cuts him to make him remember his death, stunned by his astonishment. At the same time, Atsushi unlocks the door, and they both witness what happened in the past. Under the moonlight from a childhood Atsushi, Shibusawa attempted to force forth the ultimate ability beast. When pushed to the brink, he changed into a tiger and clawed his way through Shibusawa's skull, killing him. It was Fyodor who urged him to perform these heinous experiments. Shibusawa's talent was still active after his death, even though his body had separated, resulting in memory loss. Because crime and punishment complement one another, the mastermind shows that his particular skill did not turn against him in the fog. Desai's dead body is retrieved and absorbed into the singularity. It gives birth to a dragon. The dragon's power level is soaring. Chuya arrives just in time to restrain the target, but Ango is concerned that he would use his corruption talent without desire. He assures Ango that Desai is still inside to neutralize it. Chuya confronts the dragon in an epic battle. He eventually force-feeds the dragon a building, causing it to explode from within. He catches Desai at the center and strikes him, revealing the medication he took at the bar, which was an antidote. Now that he is aware, he eliminates the corruption and its consequences. Regardless, the fog has not lifted. By transforming Shibusawa into the singularity, Fyodor subtly revives him. With his memories recovered, he spreads the fog, which is expected to cover the whole world in minutes. An English gifted organization notifies the special division of their deployment and an incineration-type ability user. To prevent the fog from spreading, he will destroy Yokohama. Kyoyuka and Akutagawa are now confronted by a stronger dragon hybrid Shibusawa in the abandoned building. Atsushi embraces his history and reconciles with his tiger. This enables him to use his gift to its maximum potential. Shibusawa is defeated once and for all by their united efforts, and the fog is lifted. The English organization prevents their attack, and all missing persons reappear. No civilians were wounded, according to Ango, but they worked frantically to cover up the large-scale incident. Mori thanks Chuya's efforts in returning the section of Yokoyama at their base. Meanwhile, Fyodor is looking over the city, planning his next plot. Finally, the film concludes with Atsushi and Kyoka being sent on their next mission. The end.